Republican-led push to ban abortions at 20 weeks has once again reached the halls of Congress. The bill, sponsored by Arizona Congressman Trent Franks, will likely clear a full committee vote today after passing with full Republican support in a subcommittee vote yesterday. Now, the bill will be put for a vote on the House floor next week, and Franks initially wanted to have the 20-week abortion ban applied only to women who live in Washington, D.C. He recently broadened the ban to cover every woman in the country as the result of the details that emerged out of the Kermit Cosnell abortion doctor trial. Although the bill makes no exceptions in the cases of rape or incest, if a woman's health is endangered by a pregnancy, or if there are fetal defects, it does include an exception in cases where the mom's life is at risk. Joining me now is Congresswoman Jackie Speier, a Democrat from California. Congresswoman, good to have you here. And a lot of people are saying that even though this bill is likely not going to pass the Senate, what's your biggest concern about the fact that it was able to make it this far in Congress?
My biggest concern is that it violates every principle that the foremost medical professional organization, the obstetricians and gynecologists, who we should be relying on, have vehemently opposed this kind of legislation because Roe versus Wade makes it very clear. That number of 24 weeks was not plucked out of the air. It was scientifically determined that's when there is viability of the fetus. That is the law of the land. Now, this is not only dead on arrival in the Senate, it would be dead in the courts of this country. And once again, the Republicans are looking at ways to try and marginalize women and not focusing on what we should be concerned about, and that's jobs in this country.
Texas Governor Rick Perry is now pushing the legislature to pass a similar 20-week ban, and if this happens, Texas would become the 10th state to do so. And then you have states like Arkansas and North Dakota, which recently passed fetal heartbeat laws, states like Wisconsin, which are trying to join a dozen or so states in passing TRAP laws, which make it harder for abortion providers to offer services. How do lawmakers like yourself stop these statewide efforts before they reach Washington?
Well, that's a great concern because there are now 41 states across the country that do limit abortions. And the question is, are they being limited at 24 weeks or are they now trying to roll it back to 12 weeks or 20 weeks? I mean, it is truly, I think, abhorrent to anyone who feels strongly that, first of all, we've got to protect the woman's life and health. Secondly, that incest and rape should not be grounds for which a woman would have to take a fetus to term. And abortion continues to be legal in this country.
I want to get your thoughts while I have you here real quickly. I know you've been very out front on this issue, heavily involved in the fight to curb military sexual assaults, and Democratic chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Carl Levin, made a surprise decision to remove a measure from a defense spending bill co-sponsored by New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand that would take these cases out of the chain of command. And moments ago, Senator Patty Murray addressed the crisis of military sexual assaults at a defense budget hearing with Secretary Chuck Hagel. Take a listen.
It is absolutely unconscionable that a fellow service member, the person you trust to have your back and be there for you, would commit such a terrible crime. We need a cultural overhaul. We need to create a system where the protection and safety of victims is unquestionable, a system where those who commit these crimes and those who allow for this behavior are punished.
Congresswoman, as I understand it, you've reintroduced a similar measure on the chain of command. So what's your reaction to Senator Levin's move, and do you think that Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel is doing enough in his new role?
Well, I think all of them are concerned, but, concern's not going to be enough. We have a problem here that's not going to be fixed as long as you keep it in the chain of command. There's a gross conflict of interest. And other countries on which our system is based, both UK, Canada, New Zealand, all have taken it out of the chain of command. So this focus on somehow keeping it in the chain is not going to help victims at all, and is going to just put us in a situation where we're going to be reviewing another scandal in another 6 months or a year.
Congresswoman Jackie Speier, thanks so much for making time for me.